But the most important question, hey Shadow, are you a vegan? No? No, you're not a vegan either? Alright, well, I'll let you go. Okay, good boy. Hello everyone, if you're new to this channel, welcome. If you have seen other videos of mine and are returning, welcome back. Either way, you are most welcome. So this video continues with the arguments vegans have for being vegan, and this video covers animal cruelty. So it covers animal cruelty in farming, especially factory farming, animal cruelty in product testing, and animal cruelty in hunting. I hope you enjoy. Last is a section that's basically two, but I'm going to put them together, and it's basically animal cruelty. So this includes farming practices, this includes how animals die in a slaughterhouse, and this includes product testing. And so first of all, this is a legitimate issue, and I have an issue with factory farming and product testing myself. We need to be more aware of what's happening in factory farms. They are mutilating animals. They are keeping certain animals in tiny cages, some stacked hundreds on top of each other, hundreds and hundreds in a barn. They put stuff like makeup in the eyes of mammals, and including monkeys, by the way, to see if they'll go blind, to make sure that it's okay for humans to use. That's just one example. There are hundreds of examples. They'll use they'll test out creams on skins, like pig skin or again monkey skin, to see if it'll react badly to the skin. Now, I'm all for stopping all of these practices. I'm all for fighting that fight. I'll fight that fight with anyone who's willing to fight it. I don't care. I just don't care. They need to stop. That being said, it doesn't mean I'm going to stop eating meat. So how do I combat this? Whenever possible, and unfortunately it's not always easy to find, but whenever possible, I try to buy ethically sourced meat. Like I said, it's not easy to find. My grocery store that I go to has a very small section for it, and although it's usually a little bit more expensive, I believe that amount of money I'm paying more is worth it. Now, I get it. Some people can't afford that difference, and if that's the case, you've got to do what you have to survive. Your survival comes first. If there's a point where you have a little more money, then you can choose to be a little bit more picky about what you're eating. I get that, and I respect that totally. What I think should happen, personally, is that I feel like grocery stores should have to disclose what farms the meat comes from, so consumers can make more of a choice. Because right now it's a brand of chicken, let's say, and God knows where it came from, and it's this amount of money. Now, I would love to be able to say, oh, this came from this local farmer, oh, this came from this farm, and then you can look up that farm and create a list of some sort and say, oh, this farm is actually really good to its animals, this farm, it does not, it's a factory farm, and those chickens are stuffed in cages and tube fed and whatever. And then you can make your you can make your choice as to which ones to buy and which ones to support. This probably right now isn't very feasible. I've talked to people who know more about it from me, and the gist of what they're saying is that they will bring in an animal to a slaughterhouse, and there may be 4 or 5 so a truck will come to pick up the animals that go to the slaughterhouse, and it might go to 4 or 5 farms before it reaches the slaughterhouse. So you never really know which animal comes from which place. We can make rules that say you have to. We can make legislation for that. I would be okay with that. I think that would be a good next step. I know it would be hard, but I also think it would be worth it. Now, that being said, even if we do that, then you have to take the time to actually research the farm. So are most people going to do that? Probably not. If you're more aware and you want to do that, great. And I think that's for who that group, what that would, which group that would help the most. Which actually leads me to animals being killed in slaughterhouses or animals being killed by hunting. This idea has come out not recently, but fairly recently in history, where killing an animal, no matter how they kill it, is cruelty. Okay. Is a lion killing a gazelle cruel? Is that lion cruel to that gazelle, or does he have to eat it to survive? Now, the argument is we don't need to eat meat to survive. Okay, maybe. Some people do. Not everyone is as privileged as we are in the first world, where we can actually make the choice what we eat. Some people barely eat anything, so they're lucky for what they get. So in my opinion, they should be treated probably as humanely, not probably, they should be treated as humanely as possible before they killed. But in my opinion, the act of killing is a completely natural process. Just go outside. Go outside and something is killing something else as you're out there. I guarantee it. The cat might have hunted and ate a mouse. A bird might have caught it and eaten a cricket. The spider just caught and ate the fly. But that happens all the time in nature. That doesn't make it cruel. And the goal of the slaughterhouse is to kill an animal within so there are different ways that they kill in a slaughterhouse. I'm not going to go into most of the gory details. The main way they do it in the U.S. slaughterhouses, anyway, as far as from what I've read, I've never been in a slaughterhouse. But basically, what they do is they stun the animal with a jolt of electricity, and then the aim is to kill it, usually by slicing its neck, hitting its artery, and kill it within 15 seconds of it being stunned. That way they're in the least amount of pain possible for the shortest amount of time possible. That's the goal. Does that always happen? No. If people want to eat meat, someone's going to have to kill the meat. That's just the thing. Most people aren't going into the woods and hunting anymore. It just doesn't happen anymore. Some people do, and actually, in my opinion, that's probably the better way to go. But for those who eat meat, that death has to happen. Some vegans argue that death shouldn't happen, it doesn't need to happen, and okay, fine. According to them, it doesn't need to happen. People are still going to eat meat, so that cow is still going to die anyway. Unless there's a time in the world where everyone goes vegan, which even now, you can't. I mean, I would be okay with reducing the amount of meat that gets slaughtered in slaughterhouses and moving towards more hunting, but then you have to deal with gun laws in a bunch of different countries. You have to deal with, can we manage that number of animals being killed? So there are issues with every alternative. What if there's a giant famine that destroys, there's a giant famine caused by the fact that the crops didn't grow for whatever reason in a year, and a significant portion of the world's population is in crisis because they don't have enough food. Because everyone eats just plants. At that point, do we bring back eating meat? At that point, do we just let people starve? Like, what? There are 1,000 examples we can put either way as to should it not happen or should it happen. And so for me, like I said before, animal cruelty is a big issue. I don't so much have an issue with the slaughterhouses. I hope that they do it as humanely and as quickly as possible and as in the least amount of pain as possible for these animals. I do know that most people don't last in slaughterhouses very long, and they actually get PTSD for it. So, because all death is horrifying to watch. It just is. I've unfortunately watched a couple of people die at this point, and it's never nice. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how they go. It's never a nice thing. So I get that's not nice, but you can't say it's not a natural process to kill something to eat it. You can't say that. It happens every second of every day across the world. A lion can't eat grass. It will die of starvation. Incidentally, there was a woman in the States who was being brought up on animal cruelty charges because she was a vegan and she decided her cat should be a vegan too. And she was getting a new cat every couple of months because they were all dying. And she had no idea why they were dying, because she was feeding them plants, and a cat can't eat plants. They cannot break down the cell walls of plants, so they can't get to the nutrients. So basically she was just starving cats. So it's not like, I don't think it's, maybe for humans we will get at some point to a point where everyone is vegan. I don't know if that will be by force. I don't know if that will be by choice. We'll see. Or maybe that will be way in the future and I will be long gone. I don't know. Either way, could we reduce the amount of meat that we're killing? Maybe it would be better. It would be better for the environment, that's for sure. Like I say, that's the main reason, on top of the animal cruelty, that I would absolutely try being a vegan again. But I can't see a point, at least now in time, where we can say, oh, let's get rid of all meat and it will work. I can't see that. Maybe in the future, who knows? We'll have to see. So the last point I want to make is about hunting, and the argument against hunting. Some people think it isn't fair that we use guns to hunt with. Like, the deer doesn't have a gun to shoot back, so why should you be able to shoot a deer? True. If a moose gores you with its horns, or a bull gores you with its horns, is it fair that the bull gores you with its horns because you don't have horns? But we don't use that argument for the bull, which is weird, because you'd think if it works for one, it works for all. So I have an issue with that point. I've heard some people argue that, well, we should have to use bows and arrows to hunt. Maybe. Personally, I don't necessarily agree with that, especially because using bows and arrows generally, unless you're a very, very skilled bows person, I was going to say bowsman, and I'm like, no, that's not sexually appropriate. You could be a woman bowman too, a bow woman, bow person. So if you're very good with a bow, there you go. If you're very good with a bow, then yes, absolutely. And there are people who hunt with bows and they're very successful at it. But the average Joe Schmo with a bow would injure the animal and would not get a clean kill. And the whole point of hunting is to get a clean kill. Hunters want to kill the animal as quickly as possible without wounding them and making them bleed to death. In the best case scenario, they don't even hear the bang. They feel the bullet enter and then they're done. That's it. That's how quick it is. I know hunters who hunt for their food. They'll try to get like an elk or a moose or whatnot, or even a couple deer, whatever it is that they're hunting. And I have had them recall stories of when they injured the animal because for whatever reason they shot and the animal moved as they were about to shoot, and it injured them, and they actually like were crying as they were recalling this story because they were like literally so upset about the fact that they hadn't killed this animal immediately. One of them took over an hour to track this animal so that he could put it down as quickly as possible afterwards, because he didn't want to leave an injured animal out there. So it's not that these are not moral people. It's that they're just using that food to feed their families. So I'm okay with hunting. There obviously has to be a limit on it, because there's only a certain amount of animals that we can hunt at a time, and there have to be rules. I absolutely agree with that. You can't just go out and kill any animal you see out there. There have to be rules about it, and I'm good with that. I'm all for that. And actually, hunting generally goes to help fund the conservation of whatever species you're hunting. So that's a positive from it that most people don't even realize. But as to it's not fair to use guns, I have another argument to that, right? So bears, wolves, mountain lions, etc., most predators have claws and teeth that their prey don't. Again, it's like the bull idea. If the bull gores you with its horns, is it fair that the bull gores you with its horns because you don't have horns? Is it fair that the predators use those weapons, their teeth, their claws, their speed, their agility to hunt and kill their prey? All those things are tools to be more successful at hunting. Our species has just done the best job. And yes, we are a danger to nature. That's absolutely true. And yes, we could, if we wanted to, hell, we could go out there with a machine gun and just shoot the machine gun and grab every animal that we kill. That's why there needs to be rules. But to say that all hunting is bad, I don't think that's true. What if hunting is the only way for you to get that food? What if you live in the Arctic, for instance, and not much plants grow there? Are you going to spend an incredible amount of money, and it costs an incredible amount of money to get anything shipped to the Arctic? So are you going to spend a ridiculous amount of money where, like, for instance, bread in the Arctic costs like potentially up to $15, at least a couple years ago, and I don't know what the current price is on bread in let's say the Arctic Circle with these small communities. But are you going to pay that, or are you going to just hunt an animal that you can get to out there? So we have to think, I think, more reasonably and less with the feelings when it comes to this stuff. I get it. It's like I said before, any death is horrible, but death is inevitable for everyone. It's just how you die and how quickly. That's essentially all it comes down to. And so I think personally, if we can get away where it's the cleanest, quickest kill that we can, obviously shit will go down. For some reason, one animal won't die right away, and that's a tragedy, but that happens. That's life. As you will see, probably next week, because I think I'll release my arguments against veganism next week. I think that you'll see that life in general is not fair for most animals, and in some cases putting them out of their misery like that is the best result. So there we have it, the last of the main arguments that vegans have for being vegan and what I think about them. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Should grocery stores have to label where the meat comes from so that we know which is ethically sourced and which is factory farmed? Is hunting inherently cruel to the animal? Let me know about those or any other thoughts you have about this video. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up button and think about subscribing. If not, hey, that's totally up to you. So until my next video, I hope you have a good day, good week, or whenever you see my next one. Till then, see ya.